Greetings, fellow humans. I'm MartianBuu, and today's pocket video is on Dragonite. Dragonite is a beefy Pokemon with a ridiculously strong attack, but it's a stage 2 and it has a very steep energy requirement. Weezing is in here to buy time with its high HP. You can use Koga and Potion to keep it alive longer. Its Gas Leak ability allows it to deal chip damage without investing any energy. While it takes a little bit of effort to set up a Dragonite, it's really fun and satisfying to pull off a Draco Meteor. I hope you enjoy the video, and thank you so much for watching. You know how they have Pokeball for basics? It would be nice if there was one for evolutions too. I don't know that I want one for stage 1s and stage 2s. They could have something like Timer Ball in the regular TCG where you flip a coin twice and for each heads you get to go find an evolution. That seems like the type of power level they would want for that sort of thing. I used to really love Dual Ball when I was a kid. Dual Ball was flip 2 coins for each head, search your deck for a basic, and put it in your hand. And part of why that was so good is because searching for basics, like searching for Pokemon specifically, what hadn't become really strong yet. So we had Good Manners, which required you to have no other Pokemon in your hand, and we had Pokemon Trader, which required you to toss a Pokemon from your hand and go get a new one. But by the time Dual Ball got released, there wasn't anything that like you could just play it and you would get a basic. So it was kind of exciting for its time. I also I was still in the stage where I enjoyed coin flips a lot. All right, here comes Misty. Opponent's really savoring this. Oh, how many hits will they get? Yeah. Okay, so that Kingler is now powered up. Now my opponent could have gotten a Tails on that first one, and then they would have no Kingler here. But they got 6 heads, so they're ready to go. they're okay. My opponent doesn't believe in rolling Tails. Is going second just better every time? I think with the current card pool it is. I don't know if it'll always be that way. Like if you get an evolution that has a really good attack for 1 energy, that deck's gonna want to go first. Luck correlates with skill. Too true. Too true. Too true, Lamp. Alright, if I top deck Dragonair, this game is salvageable, but otherwise... Also, they have to not have Sabrina. If they have Sabrina, I just, you know, I'm uninstalling. I'm uninstalling. Yeah. Don't get 2 heads, come on. Really? Really? Chat. What's going on with this? At least I got the Dragonair. Alright. Maybe they'll consider not getting 2 heads this time? Alright. Maybe you just don't get 2 heads this time. What do you think, Kingler? Thoughts? How do you feel about not getting 2 heads again? Speaking of uninstalling, how does one installing this game? You have to fly to New Zealand, and then you can install it. Don't get 2 heads. Come on, don't lose to me. No. Okay, good. Thank goodness. Chat. All right. So Dragonite has actually a pretty decent chance of ending the game here. What would be really nice, especially, is if we could get some potions. Oh, there's a potion. But then it's releasing globally on October 30th. And then you can just download it from any of your devices. All right, Draco Meteor, do the business. All right. Well, we killed the most important thing, which is nice. Unless they evolve to Kingler, Misty into 6 again, and then get to heads again. They might try that. That is a line that they could pursue. Marshy win? You love to see it. You love to see it. Can we get 200 on the same Pokemon? Show me the funny. Nope. To be fair, opponent did get unlucky not hitting 2 heads that one time. It's true. The odds came back to bite them. Going second, look at me go. Look at me go. All right, here's a copy. This is extra stressful because going second is probably worse if I don't get a Dratini. So hopefully we top deck a Dratini. So the way that I have to play this is I have it on my iPad here, and then I'm like airdropping it onto my computer. And I've not, like, for me to look at the game, I look down, right? So normally if I play Hearthstone, I'm here and then I look at chat over here. But now I have, like, I could probably just try to get in the habit of watching the game over here to my right. And then I'm not looking down at my iPad, because this is less, if I'm looking down at my iPad, it's less interesting than if I'm looking up in the direction of the camera, right? So, oh, that's helpful, thank you. All right, it might not have been helpful after all. Do I wake up? Oh, hey, okay, it was helpful. I take everything I've ever said back. It'll be especially helpful if I can get a Weezing? No? Alright, well, at least if I get a second Pokemon, I have this to get the Dratini out of the scary zone. Tape the iPad to my monitor? Yeah, exactly. See you later, coughing. At least Frostmoth isn't that scary of an opponent. Like, you can only deal 40 damage at a time. Oh, thank goodness. Oh, and it's nice. Water's next. All right, sick. Okay. So I'm going to try to stay on Dragonair with this for a couple of reasons. If this ends up dying somehow or something, I can just attack with the Dragonair once, and that'll be okay. It's also easier to retreat it again, because Dragonair has 1 retreat cost, and Dragonite is still at 3. But also, if they switch me and sleep me, as Dragonite, I have to hope to wake up, but as Dragonair, I can just evolve out of it, so... Those are my various reasons. This is actually a pretty good top deck because it means they need a Giovanni to knock out my Dratini this turn. So it might have bought us another turn. Well, if it isn't the legendary Mercenaries Truther, MartianBuu. What is the function of coughing and wheezing in this deck? Does it help you buy time to set up? Exactly. So it has a bunch of HP and it can damage the opponent for no energy investment. And then the Koga lets me put it back to my hand. Like, it lets you put a Weezing or a Mach back to your hand from the active position. Oh, that's actually a bad Tails flip. No, I can't retreat unless I top deck Dragonair. Yeah, if it was a Weezing, I could just boop it out of the active there. So yeah. This is a little sketchy because if they have another red card, they could red card away my Dragonite. And like at 2 cards in hand, I thought that was pretty unlikely because they're giving me card advantage. But at 3 cards in hand, I don't know. If you're my opponent, do you assume I'm holding the Dragonite to break sleep, or do you assume I'm not playing Dragonite because I don't have it? Because then they would just never ever play their red card. All right. Okay, so this is why I held on to the Dragonite, so that if I failed the sleep check, I could just evolve, but ended up being fine. I like that their Dratini, so they're running the version of this that Blue Train was talking about earlier, where it has these Frostmoths to stall, and you can power up the Frostmoth with Misty so that you can still be attaching to your Dratinis. But I don't have the Misties yet, so I can't try that version. Please kill the Frostmoth. No, killing the Dratinis is good though. Alright. So theoretically, they can keep me asleep indefinitely and then knock me out really slow. What's that Krabby doing there? People are on the Krabby Frostmoth Dragonite build today, I guess. Only 1 energy for the Krabby. You hate to see it. Alright, Dragonite, let's wake up. Let's wake up, Dragonite. No. Disaster. So I think if you're our opponent, you attack with the Frostmoth 1 more time. No, you don't need to now that I'm asleep still, right? Because if they retreat, they bring up the Kingler. If they get 2 heads, they just win. And if not, they've made as much progress on the Dragonite as Frostmoth would have. So there's no reason to leave the Frostmoth active. I don't think. Yeah. Have you seen the Pikachu EX deck that only uses Pikachu EX as a basic, and to pay off its ability is just to run every fossil? No, yeah, that doesn't work, right? Because the Pokemon need to be electric. So that sounds like a theory craft that wasn't tested yet to me. Opponent literally never gets 2 heads here, and I literally always flip 1 heads here. That's how it's gonna go. All right? Come on. Come on, Kingler. Show me that tails. Neat. Takes 80, and then we have the easiest heads of my life. Easiest heads of my life. What did I tell you? What did I tell you? Then we only need 1 knockout, which this Dragonite is guaranteed to provide. And our opponent knows that, so they got out. I have double Moltres EX and a Charizard EX, but 0 Charmeleon. Unlucky. I waited on this deck for a while because I didn't have the coughing. I was playing a Zebstrika version just because I didn't have the coughing to evolve into my Weezing. I had 2 Weezing. So yeah, the card acquisition is a little awkward, and you don't get enough pack points, I think, you know. It'd be nice if you could dust cards like you can in Hearthstone, but you can't dust your duplicates. So, like... It's not like pulling extras even means you can craft other stuff. Eventually, we should be able to trade, though. It says trade is coming, so the duplicates, I think, have a purpose eventually. You're playing 2 Mewtwo EX with a 1/1/1 Gardevoir line? I have the full Gardevoir line, but only 1 Mewtwo. Once during your turn, you may look at the top card of your deck. Is this useful? When is that ability useful? Alright, my opponent is letting me retreat, which is nice, by using that red card on me. What's not nice is I don't have a Dragonair, but I have a couple turns to find it, right? I only need to find it like in the next 2 draws. I can find it and be on time with this. Feels bad to use the pack points because the ideal scenario is to keep the pack points to fill in the last card missing. Right, that's what I'm saying, is like you don't get enough of them to like be able to craft enough. I feel like, see, what did I craft? I crafted my 2 Sabrinas, I crafted a Gardevoir, and I crafted a Haunter. Those are the things I've crafted so far. So those are like pretty low ticket items, I think. Like the most expensive thing that I just listed was the Gardevoir, but I have like I can't craft anything else. Hey, Dragonair. Okay, this game is going swimmingly. We have our water energy next. Our opponent is putting next to no pressure on us. And yeah. Probably in a weird scenario of a card in the future that I care about knowing the top card. Yeah, I see how Porygon could be useful theoretically, but I don't think there's any reason to run it in your deck right now. I get like... if the next card you wanted was really good, like if the next card on the top of your deck was really good, you could like not play Pokeball for a turn. But is it worth a card slot for that? It's all fun and games until they Aerodactyl you away. Yeah, that was brutal. They did that to me in... was it the Gengar video? I think it was the Gengar video, where I only had 1 Pokemon out and they Aerodactyled me. The Aerodactyl on a coin flip will shuffle one of your opponent's Pokemon back into their deck. Wait, is it the active or is it one of them? Can they just do that to me? Like right now? Could they shuffle my Dragonair back into my deck? Because like... that would be devastating. I don't have the time to power up another one of those. It's active? Okay, so they would need a Sabrina. It's funny though. I need a Koga. Chat. Oh no. Oh no. I don't mind if they shuffle in my Weezing. That is perfectly fine with me. It's like 100 HP? Oh my goodness. That should have 1 HP. They can do it with Pidgeot too. Yeah, but their Pidgey's still a Pidgey. They gotta get to Pidgeotto first. They're just gonna use that to block? I see. Hey, Dratini. Well... as long as we got time, I guess I'll start powering up this Dratini. Who will Dragonite first? I think the Pidgeot's really cool. I just don't know what the perfect partner for it is. I could see it going good with something like Articuno. The Aerodactyl's attack should do at least 10 damage on Tails, but it's already so devastating. Very few things that aren't EXs have 2 attacks, huh? I don't know that I can even think of anything. What has 2 attacks that isn't an EX? Does anything? Well, it looks like they're gonna get the first Dragonite attack off, which is a little... It's a little sketch, I gotta say. Not happy about it. The potion doesn't change any Dragonite knockout math, so I guess I'm not gonna worry about it. Can't believe I almost I've basically got 2 Dragonite powered up this game. Mm-hmm. Four cards in left in deck, 2 of which are Koga, 1 is a Dragonite. The other's an X speed. If I'd been powering up the Weezing this whole time, I could have just... Oh, thank you. Wait, you're just gonna give me the first attack? Get heads! What a generous soul, chat. Oh my goodness. What a sweet potato. And if we draw our other Dragonite, this is gonna be great. If. Because then, even if they did manage to Primal Wing Beat this Dragonite back into the deck, we'd evolve into this one and then be fine. Are they gonna switch me? I don't know what my opponent is supposed to do in this spot. I think they're supposed to come up with Dragonite. Interesting. That's never the right play, right? Interesting. Well, at least my opponent's done something. We can't take that away from them. We can, however, take this Weezing away from our active spot and send up our friend Dragonite to give him the old Draco Meteor, if you know what I mean. Whee! 3 points in the same turn. You'll love to see it. What happens if you run out of deck in game? It hasn't happened to me yet, but I've heard nothing. OTK was kind of a 2TK, but yeah. Here's a coughing. I'm going first. I don't have a Dratini. So far, this game is a disaster. There's a second coughing. All right, we're just gonna coughing him down. All right, chat. We're gonna play a ton of coughing, and they're just gonna be poisoned into oblivion. I want to play the Melmetal, but I don't have any yet. Metal is kind of novel in this game so far because nothing's really been added. Is that 1 for 30? Look at this little beast. My goodness. That's really strong for a basic like that that's meant to evolve. Okay, there's our Dratini, just in time. Just in time. Time to get going with our Dratini mission. And we have the Dragonair and the Dragonite in hand. And not enough cards in hand to incentivize a red card. I think this is suddenly starting to go super well. I don't think Paper TCG have things like Dragonite hit 4 random targets, do they? No, they have things that are like Dragonite, but you would pick the targets. Like there are a few things like that where you could pick multiple times. There's also like spread to everything or multiple hits to the same target. But yeah, not full random like Dragonite is. How is Pocket compared to normal TCG? Is it just the card pool or are mechanics different? So the deck is smaller. The like way smaller. It's 20 cards. You can only have 2 cards instead of having 4. The instead of having to run energy cards, you just pull from the energy zone. This little energy zone right here. And you have 3 bench spaces. So it's very similar. It's like based on the original TCG, but definitely has mobile in mind. Does the game prevent Dragonite from repeat overkill? It does not. So if there's an 150 HP thing on the bench and a 10 HP thing active, it can deal 150 HP to the active and 50 to the bench. So it's smaller in all cases, yeah. Yep. You know, I guess I could have sent up Dragonair there and taken that knockout, huh? I still could. I have the X speed actually. I don't really think about attacking with the Dragonair because I don't want to leave it vulnerable, but what's my opponent going to do to my poor Dragonair? Like, it's going to knock out the Bisharp, which is going to make Dragonite's job easier. And so I just wasted an X speed, basically, but on the bright side, I was able to recover from my little oopsie whoopsie there. Oh yeah, the no prize cards is a real nice positive, I think, because you don't have important things trapped in the prizes, right? That's a big negative from the regular game, is sometimes you just get hosed because a couple of your important pieces end up in the prize cards. But since they have the point system in this one, you don't have anything randomly locked every game in your prizes, which is great. I think that's the one area where this is like, I think this is better for mobile than the regular TCG is for mobile. But if we're comparing them in their contexts, I think the one thing that this game has on the regular one is that no cards get trapped in the prizes. Goodbye, Melmetal. And weakness to 20 damage instead of double, if you're correct. Yep. They actually did that in the TCG for a while. In Diamond and Pearl, they did weakness with plus instead of times. And there was a Lucario that changed it back. So like you would run that to do double damage to things. Was pretty cool. They also balanced some level X's around double, I think, if I remember correctly. I think most things were plus 10, plus 20, or plus 30, and then sometimes a really powerful Pokemon would be weak times 2 again. I think I liked that system better, but I didn't go back to it ever until this game. So I think the paper version could get away with the prize system and be fine, couldn't it? It could, but you'd need to keep track of it with like a dice or something. And I think that they like that the game keeps track of your progress for you, right? Like you don't need that extra separate pad or, you know, whatever to keep track of points. I don't know if they could do it again today. I don't know that they'd still do prize cards. But that's the other thing too, is like there's so much precedent for prize cards that if they got rid of it, a lot of old cards would be awkward. Do you frequently run 1-ofs in paper to get hosed like that? Because if 4-ofs is the max, that seems unlikely. You do frequently run 1-ofs, 2-ofs, and 3-ofs. And there are a ton of cards you'd only want 1 of. Like for example, you wouldn't want... There's like a million examples. I can't think of any of them. So there are some tool cards that like, so the item will be like, or the tool will be, it deals 30 bonus damage to Pokemon V. You don't want 4 of those because not all Pokemon are going to be Pokemon V, but you do want that as an option to be able to search up if that makes a breakpoint against one of your opponent's Pokemon V. So that's an example, but it gets a lot more complicated than that. The draw and tutor in like the main game is so strong that it's very valuable to be able to fill your deck with a bunch of options for different situations. Because unlike games like Hearthstone, you very reliably have access to those situational cards. So you could go full consistency to play around the prize cards, but then you're going to lose on average to the people who have portioned their deck to only have spreads of what they need. But people sometimes do run doubles of very important things that they would otherwise only run one of for prize card reasons. Like Forest Sealstone, the Forest Sealstone card, I don't even need to explain what it does. All you need to know is you can only use it once per game and it does something very strong. So some decks rely on Forest Sealstone so much that even though they can only use one, they run 2 just to make sure that it doesn't get trapped in the prizes. One interesting thing is that since the weakness is printed on the card, they could do cards that have different weakness values, like a water Pokemon with 30 electric damage weakness, or just 10 instead of 20. Yeah, they did that in the Diamond Pearl era. They just haven't done it since. Nobody knows why. At least I don't. Hope my opponent red cards me. That'd be great. This game is going to be a lot more like Hearthstone as far as running max copies of things, at least so far. Just because you need to find them out of your deck, right? Like, you have one tutor in the whole game, it's this Pokeball, and you have one draw card in the whole game. Like, you have Meowth, but that doesn't count. The one draw card you have... Oh, did they just Giovanni me? How'd they deal 40? Am I stupid? No, they just played a second thing. I am stupid. Okay, I'm gonna send this up and I'm gonna X speed it back if I don't find it. Is that my plan? They can only deal 90 to it. Oh, good. Thank you. Just in time. Maybe I think I should have attached that to the Dratini if I was gonna do this. Alright, so if they have another lightning Pokemon and they have a Giovanni, then we'll just concede. It'll be great. I wonder what kind of conditioner effect would make you run a Singleton's deck. I was wondering if there was an item that it worked like Pokeball, but it said evolution instead of basic Pokemon. I was wondering if that would incentivize you to run 1/1 evolution lines, because especially for a deck like this one, you only need one Dragonite, right? But you want to find both pieces of that Dragonite. So it's better to not have duplicate copies of the same card if you have that tutor effect, because once you've found one, the tutor effect is guaranteed to find the other one. So I could see a world where if they release something like that, then see, if I'd attached to the Dratini too, I could have just retreated here and finished them off with the Dratini if I didn't find this Dragonite. I think it was just better to attach to Dratini last turn, I think. Anyway, so yeah, I think so they could just like print Singleton support if they wanted to. And if the game goes long enough, I'm sure they will. But oh look, we won in one turn. Actual OTK this time. But yeah, I think there are situations, like depending on how they choose to print the random tutors and stuff, I could definitely see some situations where you're gonna run one you're gonna run a 1. You're gonna want to run, you know, just one line of things. Something I thought of that would be really easy to make outros for Pocket is to tell you guys about a deck I enjoyed using the Pokemon in the Pocket video, but in the paper card game. And I don't think that I'll run out of content for that anytime soon because I have multiple decks to talk about for a lot of these Pokemon, at least that they've released so far. So today I'm going to tell you about Delta Species Dragonite, who was part of the iconic deck Meta Knight, which is probably my favorite meta deck ever in the Pokemon TCG. So Dragonite and Metagross came out in the Delta Species expansion. They were both half lightning, half metal. The Delta Species set really liked to mix types around, and it was when dual type was used the most often in the TCG ever. So anyways, they were both lightning and metal. The Dragonite would take a lightning energy out of your discard pile and attach it to one of your bench Pokemon. The Metagross's attack would deal more damage for each energy you discarded on the field. So Dragonite would help you get energy onto the field to discard with Metagross initially, but also would help you recover energy once the Metagross had discarded it for the big damage.